Life of a Middle Child Chapter 1. The beginning of the silence. You're listening to Life of a Middle Child, a voiceover story written by Etnal Borno. This is Chapter 1, the beginning of the silence. If you enjoy emotional storytelling, found family themes, and slow burn healing from trauma, then welcome. You're in the right place. Let's begin. The living room. Or maybe, more accurately, a living room pretending to be a small, open library. No, that's not quite right either. It's simply a living room arranged like a library. But that's not the point. The real problem is the silence. This room is so quiet that my mind can't help but build castles in the air, transforming every unnecessary, useless, and not so important thought into a sprawling room of stories. And yes, sorry for the late introduction. I'm Rain, a beta. And I'm not actually alone in this silent room. Right now, I'm with Dr. Tongrak in his private clinic. He's a newly graduated psychologist, a high-level Omega, and for the past 2 years, I've been stuck in his counseling therapy. I won't lie, I didn't like it at first. Especially Dr. Tongrak. When he'd look at me and ask those small, seemingly unnecessary questions, it felt like all my secrets were being spilled right in front of him. It was difficult, seeing myself laid bare. But I'm incredibly grateful to him now. Thanks to his counseling, my relationship with my family has, well, it's become normal. And I learned that I'm not abnormal at all. My behavior is just a part of who I am, completely normal for me. You're probably wondering why I'm sitting here so quietly and what exactly Dr. Tongrak is doing. He's sitting right in front of me, poring over my counseling report. Today's my last session. So, Rain, OSH, give a signal before you talk. Suddenly, I almost had a heart attack. I gasped, startling myself with my own high-pitched voice. I'd been lost in my own world, and Dr. Tongrak had completely blindsided me. Is it my fault you're lost in your mind? He asked, a familiar, mild exasperation in his tone. This was a common occurrence, countless times over the past 2 years. He didn't take it seriously anymore. He knew it happened from time to time, and so did I. So, Rain, this is our last counseling session. Today, we'll just have a short summary of all the issues you've had in the past. Think about those issues now, Dr. Tongrak said, offering a comforting smile. You already know, I countered with a slight pout. Why do you need to hear it again? Yes, I know, and we've been working on it for the past 2 years, he replied, his gaze firm but kind. But today is our last session. And the main reason I want to hear it from you again is to see how you feel about those things now. He gave me a look that plainly said, do as I ask. I took a deep breath, letting it out slowly. Fine, I muttered, then began my story. Flashback. Most of the information gathered here was only pieced together after 2 years of counseling with Rain and his family. This is a summary of the whole story. My childhood, for the first 5 years, felt pretty normal. Loving parents. An older brother, Sky, who was 4 years my senior and already an Omega. Everything was fine. Things started to shift when I turned 5. That's when I started daycare school, about 5 hours a day for 8 months. The official reason was to ease the burden on my mom, who had just given birth to our newest family member, my younger brother, Sunday. He was an Omega too, of course. But the daycare itself wasn't the problem. The real shift began when Sun was just 2 months old. One ordinary day, the hospital called my mom. My daycare school had suffered a gas cylinder explosion. A fire. All the children, including me, had been rushed to the hospital. My dad, an average alpha, worked for a house-moving company and was out of the city that day, helping a family relocate. So the hospital called my mom, the emergency contact. My mom, still recovering from childbirth, didn't hesitate. She went straight to the hospital. When she arrived, they told her I wasn't seriously injured, just unconscious from inhaling too much carbon dioxide. It took almost 2 hours for me to wake up and then another hour for the doctors to finish their checks. My mom stayed by my side the entire time. By the time they were almost done, my dad arrived with Sky. Everything seemed okay. The doctors just advised us to keep me in the hospital overnight for observation. That's when Sky asked about our youngest brother. About Sun. My mom froze. Sun had been a preterm birth, almost a month early. He was tiny, fragile, and needed intense care. He'd even had pneumonia and severe breathing problems, requiring medicinal gas regularly. He'd been hospitalized for almost his entire first month. My mom and grandparents had been constantly monitoring him. But that day, my grandparents were out at a gathering. That meant my mom was the only one with Sun at home. And he'd been unsupervised for more than 3 hours. My mom hadn't fully recovered from her postpartum depression. The sudden emergency call had made her completely forget about Sun unknowingly. The realization hit her like a physical blow. She almost passed out, releasing a wave of distressed pheromones. 11-year-old Sky, even at that age, instinctively tried to calm her, while my dad dealt with the hospital paperwork so I could stay overnight. He desperately called our neighbor, asking them to check on Sun. My parents and Sky left the hospital, heading home. But halfway there, the neighbor called back. They were taking Sun to the hospital. He wasn't breathing. After that, everything became a blur. No one clearly remembers what happened next. It was all too far, too unreasonable, too unfortunate, too disturbing. It's a jumble of fragmented memories. All they remember is the doctor's somber words. They were sorry. They couldn't save the little boy. He'd had breathing problems, and without the medicinal gas, it was too hard for him to breathe. He'd already passed away before the neighbor even found him. It was a devastating day. They had almost lost me, and they had definitively lost their newborn. The police came, investigated, and confirmed it was a tragic, unavoidable accident. No one was to blame. That was chapter 1 of Life of a Middle Child. If Rain's story moved you, or you're curious about what comes next, please consider subscribing to the channel and turning on notifications. Chapter 2 is coming soon, where Rain begins to unpack the emotions and consequences that followed. Thank you for listening. And remember, your story matters too. See you in the next chapter.